Welcome to Pick Up and Deliver, the podcast where I pick up my audio recorder when I drop the kids off at school and deliver an episode while I walk home. I'm Brendan Riley. Well, good morning, gentle listener. I hope that you're having a pleasant day so far. It is a lovely day here in suburban Chicago. It's June 4th, and I am enjoying the weather. Whatever that heat wave we had last week broke, and so now it is sunny, but not outrageously hot. I just dropped the kids off for the second to last day of school, so who knows what the rest of the days are going to look like. But I do have at least 2 more episodes I can record before I am locked into summer parenting. So today on Pick Up and Deliver, given that it's early June, maybe the first episode I'm recording in June, or possibly the second. I can't remember if I recorded one on Friday the 1st or not. So given that this is the early June, I'm going to give you my update on my top of the stack. For those of you who just started listening recently, welcome, first off. Thanks for joining us. The top of the stack is a segment I am going to do once a month. This will be the second month I've done it, so it doesn't have enough legacy for me to say something I do every month, but something I plan to do every month, in which I discuss games I played last month, games I plan to play, and games that I will be playing in future. So, May was a pretty good month for me in terms of gameplay. I got a lot of games in, which is not surprising given that my semester ended, so things are a little bit looser. I suspect the next couple months we'll see a heavy increase in gameplay as the need for getting children to bed early and that sort of thing reduces. But, so, there are a couple things I track in my top of the stack idea. One of them is the 3 games that I made a decision to try to play in the month. One of them is my 10 out of 10, my effort to pick 10 games and play them each 10 times over the course of the month. And one of them is my, one of the new things I'm tracking is new games that I played, games I'd never played before that I played this month. I also like to keep track of my shelf of opportunity. These are games that I have but haven't played yet, and whether I knocked any of those off of my list. So, lots to review. So, for those of you who didn't remember, last month, at the beginning of the month, I declared that I was going to play 3 games. I was going to play Alexandria, which is the game of trying to prevent the Library of Alexandria from burning down from Looted Creations. I was going to play Unreal Estate, a small box card game from the something Gamers Guild, the Grand Gamers Guild, and Stronghold 2nd Edition. Well, I'm pleased to report that I got 2 of those 3 games played in May. I was able to play Alexandria on May 20th. It turned out to be pretty fun. It's a little fiddly, and I can see why it didn't get great reviews, in that it feels like the kind of game where it's more fun the second time you play. And the strategies are kind of locked in, depending which character you have kind of designates what you're going to be going for. For instance, I was playing a guy who really wants to save the people, and the people hang around the lecterns. So as the library is burning down, it was my job to try to save as many lecterns as I could. So I was constantly moving lecterns around, and if you're going to play that character, you probably have to do that. The thing is, each character gets a couple different goal cards, so it does change a little bit each round, but it feels on first play at least like it's going to be kind of locked in. We'll see. I'm not sure how many more plays that'll get. It was fun, but we'll see. The other one is Stronghold 2nd Edition. This is a 2-player game in the same mind space as Star Wars Rebellion or Axis and Allies, or any of these big games that take a long time where it's just one person against another and it's a lot of tactics and strategy going back and forth. Stronghold the idea is one player represents humans trying to defend a castle, and the other person represents an army of fantasy creatures, orcs, goblins, and trolls, who are trying to destroy the castle or breach it. And it's interesting because the human player, the player trying to defend the castle, has to survive the 7 rounds. If you survive the 7 rounds, you win. But each round, basically the orcs and goblins get stronger and stronger. There are some limits to how many there are in the game, but they have a lot more than the humans have. By contrast, the human players, or the orc player, just has to breach the wall once. So there's maybe 8 or 10 points, I think 8 points, where the humans are defending the wall, and the orcs and goblins can attack at any of those points. And you can see them coming, and it's a lot of back and forth. And while they're coming, you can shoot at them with cannons and arrow archers and so on. But then their goal is to get up to the wall, and then once they're at the wall, then every round there's these battles. And if the orcs and trolls and goblins ever have enough people at the wall to kill everybody who's there and still have 1 strength left to breach, the game's over and you lose, or they win. So there's a lot of tension because there's grand strategy that plays out, and there's a few randomized moments, but ultimately it comes down to a series of single battles, which if the human loses any of them significantly, then the orc player wins. So it's really tense, very fun. I really liked it, and I'm going to definitely try to play it again soon. That's Stronghold 2nd Edition. The third game that was on my top of the stack is a small box card game called Unreal Estate. I did not get it played in May. I'll put it in the stack for June, and we'll see if we can get it done. Update on my 10 for 10. Once again, if you aren't familiar with this concept, a 10 for 10 is a list of 10 games that you pick that you want to play 10 times each over the course of a year. So it's designed to get you to play more deeply some of the games that you really like. Again, my 10 for 10, I'll go through all 10 and let you know where I am. Gloomhaven, I've completed the 10 for 10. I've played it 12 times this year. Stuffed Fables, we've got 6 plays in, but I'd like to get 4 more of that. Pandemic Legacy Season 2, I'm at 7 plays. Ex Libris, the game of collecting and organizing a library bookshelf in a fantasy world. We're only at 3 plays there, so I've got a ways to go. Need to get that out a little bit more often. Century Golem Edition, I'm at 9 plays, so 1 more, and I've got that one completed. Terra Mystica, I'm at 3 plays. I was wrestling over this, and I'd be interested to hear what you say, but I think I'm going to go with this. As I mentioned a couple times, I started playing some games on Board Game Arena, and I've decided I'm going to count plays on Board Game Arena as plays of the game. Here's my thinking on that. 1, I'm playing against real people, not the computer. 2, it does satisfy the thing for me that the 10 out of 10 does, which is give me an opportunity to play the game again, get better at the strategy, and learn the game more deeply. On both of those metrics, Board Game Arena satisfies. So even though it's a game being played out 1 turn a day for a month, it still fits the criteria that I'm looking for when I talk about whether a game is played or not. So I am counting Board Game Arena plays. But Terra Mystica, I'm at 3. Arkham Horror card game, I'm still at 0. This is getting dire, folks. I'm in month 6 of the 12 months, and I haven't played this at all. Thing is, I expect once I get going on it, I will crack out those 10 in a month or 2. Matainai, I'm at 0. This is a really fun one that my daughter and I enjoy. We just haven't gotten it back to the table. I expect we will soon. Same with Roll for the Galaxy, that's still at 0. And Via Nebula is at 1. So if, according to the logic of this system, I should be at 50 plays. I have 40 plays out of my 100 that I need to finish this. So I guess maybe by the end of June I might have 10 more, in which case I'll be on track. So anyway, that's my 10 for 10. And finally, there's a number of games that I played for the first time this month that I wanted to share. I'll let you know if some of these were on my shelf of opportunity as well. I got to play Through the Ages, A New Story of Civilization for the first time. Now, to be fair, this is on Board Game Arena, so the play experience is very different than sitting down for 3 or 4 hours and playing this in person, which I would absolutely like to do. I can tell from playing the online version that I would really like the face-to-face version, and I hope that I get to play that sometime soon. I got to play Pulsar 2849. I think I talked about that a little bit, from Vladimir Suchi. I really liked it. Very complicated, as is usually the style with his games. Really fun. I mentioned Alexandria already. That was one from my shelf of shame, as was Pulsar 2849. I got to play a little trick-taking game called Pot de Vin, or Pol de Vin, if you're speaking French. It was fine. Not really my cup of tea. I don't probably need to play it again. Played Walk on Fire, which is a small box card game from Green Couch Games. I got that a while ago in a Kickstarter, and I just hadn't gotten it to the table. It was fun. My kids like it. I think it'll probably become a small box staple for us. I got to play Zombicide Black Plague. That was pretty fun. I think I mentioned before, if I weren't somebody who already had a bunch of Last Night on Earth stuff, I would probably be interested in Zombicide Black Plague, but I already have a game about killing a bunch of zombies, so if I want to play that, I can tap one of my friends who has it. A Game of Thrones Hand of the King, I mentioned as well. That was it's a really fun small box card game. Surprisingly deep, takes about 20 minutes to play. You play 2-on-2 or 4 versus 4. You can play, or 2-on-2 or, you play 1 versus 1, 2-on-2, or 3-player, everybody for themselves. Those are the 3 options for playing, and it's pretty fun. A nice little card game. Goodness, so many. Mountains of Madness is a cooperative game from Rob Davio and somebody else, Miguel someone, I think. Really interesting co-op where you are trying to solve these problems, and as you try to solve them, you get these madness cards that make you act in goofy ways. It was fun. Ghostbusters, the board game, is a minis adventure style game. It wasn't really my cup of tea. It was fine, but very limited actions each turn, which I guess was to keep it from feeling like too long between your turns, but ultimately just felt like you didn't have enough, you couldn't do enough. I got to play Blood Rage. I think I mentioned that before as well. That one was a really fun, interesting way to explore a variety of game mechanisms. I can see why people like it a lot. I look forward to playing that again at some point. King of New York, a more gamery version of King of Tokyo, was fun, but I prefer King of Tokyo. Santorini is a pretty fun abstract game. Again, I can see why people like it, and if I didn't already have a couple 2-player abstract games that really work for me, I might be interested, but I do. It also reminds me of Torres because of these building of towers. Stronghold 2nd edition, I've already talked about. That was on the shelf of shame. And World's Fair 1893, a game that I really enjoyed, despite the fact that the theme is very light. So, goodness sakes. It looks like I tried 40 new games this month. Oh, this year I've tried 40 new games. So, my stack is brimming. So next month, as I talk about my top of the stack, I've already set up my stack for next month. Next month, in June, I plan to play Robinson Crusoe, Unreal Estate, and Crazy Carts. So those are my 3 top of the stack for this month. I'll also continue on my 10 for 10. Well, I hope that that was an enjoyable update for you. I know there's not a lot of deep philosophical content this week or today, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Let me know what you're playing this month. What are you planning to play? What's on the top of your stack? I'd love to hear it and love to know. Drop by BoardGameGeek Guild 3269. Let me know what you're working on. Or pop me an email, brendan@rattleboxgames.com. Or on Twitter, rattleboxgames is another place you can find me. Thanks for joining me on the walk. I hope that your next walk is as pleasant as mine was. Have a good one.
Brought to you by Rattlebox Games.